Hello everyone, welcome back to Newsroom. I'm Chella Smith. This is your Middle East U.S. entertainment news here on YouTube. I air on Fridays. I bring you the latest on reforms and economics of Iraq based on reports put out by the Middle East news media outlets. I do this weekly review and it's based off my interests. Thank you everyone for joining me. Last week we talked about reforms, Iraq's next steps, the banking sector, exchange rates, and currency auctions. Let's take a look at this week's headlines. IraqiNews reported the Parliamentary Legal Committee suggested that a session of the House of Representatives be held during the current legislative recess if it receives the 2023 budget bill from the government. A member of the committee told IraqiNews agency the budget law includes a set of paragraphs. The price of a barrel of oil approved in the budget has not been announced. Al-Hamami stressed that the House of Representatives, despite entering its legislative recess, will hold the session for reading the budget law if a request is submitted to hold the session. The Parliamentary Finance Committee had expected the Cabinet to vote on the draft General Financial Budget Bill for the year 2023 at the end of this month. Committee member Muin Al-Kadhimi says that the total value of the draft budget law has risen to 222 trillion dinars in response to the demand of the Ministry of Governorates, noting that rising that total value needs to be amended by the Ministry of Finance to prepare the final draft of the draft law before sending it to the Council of Ministry. On the 9th of December, the House of Representatives entered a legislative recess for a period of 30 days, providing that they will resume its session on the 9th of January. Baghdad Magazine News reports the exchange rate of the dollar rose on Thursday. On the local stock exchange, the selling price was 152,000 dinars per every $100. The buying price was 151,900 dinars per $100. Then today, the board of directors of the central bank took an important decision to control the exchange rate as the selling price of the dollar to beneficiaries, the bank customers whose imports the bank finances with documentary credits, was reduced to 1465 instead of 1470, as the central bank will sell the dollars to banks for the purpose of opening documentary credits by an amount of 1455 instead of 1460. Baghdad Magazine News reports the ambassador of the People's Republic of China to Iraq affirms Wednesday the continuation of supporting Iraq in several areas, including reconstruction and strengthening the economy, and that next year will be the beginning of implementing the results of bilateral meetings between the leadership of Iraq and China. Also indicating that there are new achievements, it will be achieved with Iraq. China's ambassador says Iraq is one of the important countries in the Arab world, and that China's president's attendance at the Arab-Chinese summit is a new starting point for the cooperation between Iraq, pointing out that the Chinese president indicated during his meeting with the Prime Minister, Mohammed Shia al-Sudani, that Iraq is one of the first Arab countries to establish diplomatic relations with the People's Republic of China, while al-Sudani expressed his strong desires to strengthen relations and cooperations between the two countries. China's ambassador, Iraqi-Chinese relations has witnessed a peaceful development and cooperation between the two countries in fields has achieved balanced progress since establishment of the strategic partnership relations between them in the year 2015, stressing that the Chinese side will continue to provide firm support to Iraq, preserving sovereignty, independence, and territorial integrity, and enhance solidarity and cooperation between various Iraqi parties. He also pointed out that China is ready to join efforts to continue deepening and strengthening partnership relations that bind the two countries, stressing that Chinese side will continue to support Iraq in rebuilding and strengthening the economy and assisting in the restoring of the industrial sector, improving people's livelihoods, and achieving sustainability development. He continued, "We appreciate what Iraq sides has done in terms of support and contributions to strengthening collective cooperation between China and the Arab countries, stressing the readiness to work with them to implement all expected results for the first Chinese-Arab summit well and to rise the Sino-Arab strategic partnership relation to a higher level. He stated that next year marks the beginning of the two sides' implementations of results of the bilateral meetings between the leadership of the two countries, and it will also include the 65th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations between China and Iraq, noting that there is a lot of work that must be done in the next year, and they will work to achieve the achievements. Economy News Baghdad reported the central bank announced the volume of currency reserves has reached its highest levels in history of the state of Iraq, while indicating that the public finance has an opportunity to compensate all disadvantaged and those with low salaries among retirees. The central bank advisor Ishan Sherman Al-Yazari said in a statement that the central bank's reserves has reached their highest levels in history of Iraq's state and has exceeded 90 billion, explaining what are we counting on is not the central bank reserves, but rather the performance of public finances that are now enjoying significant abundance, too much money. Al-Yazari continued that the central bank work is to manage monetary policy and to intervene to fix problems related to the exchange rate and others, noting that the bank's reserves are still abundant and our procedures are rational. Baghdad Magazine News reports the Prime Minister and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Mohammed Shia al-Sudani, received Wednesday the Commander of the U.S. Central Command, General Michael Kurilla, to discuss military coordination between Iraq and the United States. The media office of the Prime Minister said in a statement that the Prime Minister and the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Mohammed Shia al-Sudani, received today the Commander of the U.S. Central Command, General Michael Kurilla, and his accompanied delegations, noting that the meeting was attended by the Commander of the Armed Forces, the International Coalition of Iraq and Syria, General Matthew McFarland, as well as the U.S. Ambassador to Iraq, Elena Romanowski. The statement added that during the meeting they discussed aspects of military cooperation and coordination between Iraq and the United States. Al-Sudani stressed that the importance of continuing joint work, especially in the field of providing advice and training to Iraqi forces, which are fighting the confrontation against terrorism effectively and professionally, stressing that Iraqi forces are determined to continue working in order to stabilize stability and preserve the success achieved in the war on terrorism. Economy News Baghdad reports the Central Bank of Iraq announced Monday, December 12th, that it received the remaining amount in the Kuwait Compensation Fund at a value of $7,946,316 US dollars, and it was returned after paying the full compensation. A bank statement quoted an authorized source as saying the amount was returned after auditing the accounts according to the Security Council Resolution number 2621 for the year 2022, concerned with ending the compensation files resulting from the invasion of the former Iraqi regime into the state of Kuwait. The statement indicated that Iraq revealed in 2021 that it had terminated all necessities of banking arrangements with the U.S. Federal Reserve Bank to stop the automatic deduction of Kuwait compensation from Iraqi crude oil export revenues after paying the full remaining amount of compensation. In February 2022, Mesopotamia paid the last payment of compensation related to its invasion of Kuwait during the rule of former regime President Saddam Hussein in 1990. Iraqi's government has paid a total compensation of $52 billion to individuals, companies, and government who has been able to prove that they suffered damages as a result of the invasion, according to the United Nations Compensation Commission, which oversaw the process. In addition to the state budget, Iraqi specialists indicated that the compensation file was costing the country between $6 to $7 million a day, and that with the end of this harsh chapter, a value of these funds from Iraqi's current exports, which amount to more than $2 billion annually, will be added to the country's budget and a full of significant expenditure section to build the electricity network system that will revive Iraq for many years. And you've been watching Newsroom Weekly Review. I'm Chella Smith, your Middle East U.S. entertainment news on reforms and economics Iraq. I bring you the latest Dinar news without having to keep up with all the different outlets. I'm here on YouTube every Friday, so don't forget to subscribe and turn those notification bells on. If you like my content, give me a thumbs up. If you really like my content, you're always welcome to leave a super thanks. Again, thank you for being a subscriber, and thank you for visiting Newsroom Chella Smith, your trusted Dinar source. Take care.